The bridge of the U.S. frontier was quiet except for the soft beeps of the control panels. Captain Ellie Wright stood with her hands behind her back, looking at the large screen in front of her. The blue-white planet grew larger as they approached. This was A342, a world that the Galactic Council had warned them about. "Captain, we're now in stable orbit," said Lieutenant Frank Miller from his station. "Sensors are gathering data on the planet's surface." Ellie nodded. "What are we seeing down there?" Commander Jack Rogers walked up beside her with a data pad in his hand. His face showed surprise as he reviewed the information. "This doesn't match the Council records at all. They classified this as a death world because of the extreme cold and high gravity. But our sensors are picking up cities. Big ones." "Cities?" Ellie asked, taking the pad from him. "The Council said this planet couldn't support advanced life." "Well, someone forgot to tell the locals that," Jack said with a small smile. "We're detecting energy signatures across the northern half of the planet. They're using technology, and it looks pretty advanced." Ellie zoomed in on one of the larger settlements. Crystal-like structures rose from the snowy landscape. Between them, small dots moved in patterns that suggested roads and gathering places. "They're living right out in the open, in temperatures that would freeze a human solid in minutes," she said. The ship's communication panel lit up with a soft chime. Officer Diane Bell looked up from her station. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the surface. They're hailing us." The bridge crew exchanged surprised looks. First contact was always a delicate situation, but this was unexpected. The Council records had nothing about intelligent life on H342. "Put it through," Ellie ordered. The main screen flickered, and an image appeared. The being had light blue skin that seemed to shimmer like ice crystals. 4 arms emerged from a torso covered in what looked like soft fur. Its face had 2 large eyes that reminded Ellie of dark pools. "Greetings, space travelers," the being said in a surprisingly clear voice. "Welcome to Frosta. I am Ambassador Krell. We detected your ship entering our system and would be honored to receive visitors from beyond the stars." Ellie straightened her uniform and stepped forward. "I am Captain Ellie Wright of the Earth exploration vessel U.S. Frontier. We come in peace and friendship." "Earth." Krell's eyes widened. "We have heard stories of your world from Council traders. They say it is unbearably hot and filled with dangerous creatures. Yet you seem quite civilized." A small laugh escaped Ellie's lips before she could stop it. "The Council says much the same about your world to us." The door to the bridge slid open, and a tall, thin alien with green skin entered. This was Zextor, the Council representative assigned to their mission. His 3 eyes narrowed at the screen. "Captain Wright, you must end this communication immediately," Zextor said. "Council protocol forbids direct contact with Death World species without proper authorization." Ambassador Krell tilted his head. "Death World? Is that how the Council speaks of us? How amusing. We think the same of most Council worlds. Too warm and soft for proper living." "We would be pleased to visit your world, Ambassador," Ellie said, ignoring Zextor's disapproving clicks. "With proper environmental protection, of course." "Of course," Krell replied. "You are just in time for our festival of formation. The first great snowfall has arrived, and the building will soon begin." "Building?" Jack asked from beside Ellie. Krell's mouth formed what might have been a smile. "Come down and see. We create wonders from the snow that falls upon our lands. It is our greatest joy when the cold season begins." After the communication ended, Zextor moved in front of Ellie. "Captain, I must protest this course of action. Both your species and theirs are classified as Deathworlders for good reason. The Council cannot predict what might happen if you meet." Ellie looked at the screen, where the blue-white planet still turned slowly. "That's exactly why we need to go down there, Representative. Maybe it's time the Council learned that their fears about Deathworlders are misplaced." She turned to Jack. "Prepare a landing team. Let's go see what these people build from snow. The landing shuttle touched down on a flat area of packed snow. Through the viewport, Dr. Sam Turner looked at the temperature reading and shook his head. "Minus 60 degrees Celsius out there," he said. "Our suits will protect us, but we shouldn't stay outside for more than 4 hours." Captain Ellie Wright checked her environmental suit one last time. The special fabric was designed to keep humans alive in the harshest conditions, but even it had limits. "Everyone stay alert. Remember, what seems normal to them might kill us in seconds." The shuttle door opened with a hiss, and cold air rushed in despite the airlock. The 4-person team stepped out onto the snow. Captain Wright, Commander Jack Rogers, Dr. Sam Turner, and Security Officer Lisa Green. Their boots made crunching sounds on the hard-packed surface. Ambassador Krell waited for them, standing casually in the open air. He wore only a simple wrap around his torso. Behind him stood a group of his people, including some smaller ones that looked like children. "Welcome to Frosta," Krell said, spreading all 4 of his arms wide. "You honor us with your presence." Ellie's voice came through her suit's speaker. "Thank you for inviting us. We're excited to learn about your world." Krell looked at their bulky suits with interest. "Are these needed for your comfort? Our records indicate Earth has some cold regions. Do you not experience snow?" "We do," Jack explained. "But your temperatures would freeze us solid in minutes without protection." This seemed to amuse the aliens. The smaller ones moved closer, looking at the humans with wide dark eyes. One pointed at the foggy clouds forming when the humans spoke through their external speakers. "Come," Krell said. "I will show you our city. The festival begins soon." They walked toward the crystal structures they had seen from orbit. Now on the ground, the humans realized how massive they were. Towers of translucent material rose hundreds of feet into the air, catching the light of the dim sun and breaking it into rainbow colors. "What are these buildings made of?" Sam asked, his scientist's curiosity taking over. "Ice, primarily," Krell answered. "Mixed with minerals from the mountains, we shape them as they grow, guiding the formation rather than cutting or building." Lisa touched the wall of one structure. "They're growing the buildings," she said with wonder. As they moved through the city, the humans saw more of the aliens going about their daily lives. None wore anything more than thin coverings, despite the bitter cold. Many carried tools or what looked like art supplies. They reached a massive open area, like a town square, but far larger. Hundreds of aliens worked here, moving snow into piles and shaping it. "This is where our community will create its formation for the festival," Krell explained. "Each region competes to make the most impressive snow army." "Snow army?" Ellie asked. Krell gestured to a partially finished sculpture. It showed a line of figures, each twice as tall as a human. They were detailed enough to see armor and weapons. "For generations, we have celebrated the first great snow by creating armies of snow creatures," Krell said. "It began as a way to honor our ancient warriors, but now it is pure art and joy." Some spend months planning their designs. A small alien child approached them, showing no fear of the strange visitors. In its hands was a small snow figure, crudely shaped but recognizable as a warrior like the larger ones. "This is my daughter, Lyri," Krell said. "She is only 7 cycles old, but already participates in the festival." Lyri held up her creation to the humans. Sam knelt down, his knees crunching in the snow, to look at it more closely. "It's wonderful," he said. "On Earth, our children also play in the snow. They make people figures too, but we call them snowmen." "Snowmen," Lyri repeated, her voice high and musical. "Will you show us how to make Earth snowmen?" Jack laughed inside his helmet. "Our snow art is much simpler than yours, I'm afraid." "Different is not simpler," Krell said. "We would be honored if you would create Earth snow art for the festival. No visitors from beyond the stars have ever participated before." Ellie looked at her team members. Each nodded in agreement. "We would be happy to join your festival," she said. "But first, can you tell us more about these snow armies? Why armies, specifically? Krell's expression changed to something the humans couldn't quite read. Come to the Hall of Records. There is history you should know about our people and our relationship with the cold. The Hall of Records was warmer than outside, but the humans still kept their environmental suits on. Inside, the walls were covered with intricate ice carvings showing the history of the Frosted people. Krell led them to a large central chamber where a group of older aliens sat in a circle. They looked up as the strange visitors entered, their dark eyes widening with interest. These are our memory keepers, Krell explained. They preserve our history through stories and ice art. An elderly Frostin with pale blue skin rose to greet them. I am Elder Nira, she said in a voice that reminded Ellie of wind through ice. Ambassador Krell tells us you wish to know about our snow armies. Yes, Ellie said. We're curious about why you build armies specifically. Elder Nira gestured to the carvings on the wall. Long ago, our world was even colder than it is now. The Great Freeze covered everything, and our ancestors struggled to survive. The humans looked at the carvings, which showed smaller, thinner versions of the current Frostins huddled in caves. Then came the warming. Elder Nira continued. Temperatures rose enough that the ice retreated from parts of our world. But with the warming came danger. The next series of carvings showed strange creatures emerging from the ground as the ice melted. The burrowers had lived beneath the ice for thousands of years, Krell explained. They attacked our people, trying to drive us back to the high mountains so they could claim the lower lands. We were not warriors then, Elder Nira said. We were artists, thinkers, builders. We did not know how to fight. Sam studied the carvings carefully. So what happened? Nira pointed to a carving showing Frostins shaping large figures from snow. Our ancestors created the first snow army. They built thousands of snow warriors and placed them around their settlements. Decoys, Jack said with understanding. They made the burrowers think your forces were much larger than they actually were. Yes, Krell nodded. The burrowers were not intelligent like us. They saw the shapes and retreated, fearing they were outnumbered. Elder Nira continued the story. Each winter after that, we would rebuild our snow armies as protection. Over generations, the burrowers eventually died out as the planet found its balance between cold and warm. But we kept making the snow armies, Krell added. What began as survival became art. Families competed to make the most realistic snow warriors. Communities worked together to create massive battle scenes. It became our way of remembering the past while celebrating that we no longer needed real armies. Lisa looked thoughtful. So these snow armies are both a memorial and a celebration of peace. Exactly, Elder Nira said with what appeared to be a smile. Now it is pure joy. Children learn our history while playing in the snow. Artists push the limits of what can be created from frozen water. Engineers test new techniques for shaping and preserving the sculptures. Ellie walked along the wall, studying the carvings that showed how the snow armies had evolved over time. On our world, we also use art to remember difficult parts of our past. I think our peoples have more in common than the Council realizes. Perhaps that is why they fear us both, Krell said quietly. Deathworlders, they call us. But they do not understand that facing hardship creates strength, not violence. Elder Nira approached the humans. Would you share how your people celebrate the cold seasons? We have heard stories that humans play in snow despite finding it dangerous. Jack smiled behind his faceplate. We certainly do. We make snow angels, have snowball fights, build snow forts, and go sledding down hills. Snow angels, snowball fights. The younger Frostins in the room leaned forward with interest. What are these things? Perhaps it would be better to show you, Ellie suggested. If you'll provide us with an area to work, we can demonstrate some Earth snow traditions. Krell's 4 eyes blinked with excitement. The festival field is perfect. Each community has its own section. We will assign you a space among the other competitors. Competitors? Sam asked. You want us to compete in your snow army contest? Of course, Elder Nira said. You are the first visitors from beyond our world to join our festival. It is a great honor." The humans exchanged uncertain glances. "We're not exactly artists," Lisa pointed out, "and we know nothing about your traditions or judging criteria." "That is the point," Krell said. "We wish to see how Deathworlders from a hot planet interact with snow. The Council believes we should fear each other, but perhaps together we can show them they are wrong." Back on the U.S. frontier, Captain Ellie Wright called a meeting to discuss their findings. Around the conference table sat her team from the surface visit, along with several other crew members and the Galactic Council representative, Zextor. "The Frostons have invited us to participate in their snow army competition," Ellie explained to those who hadn't been on the landing party. "I think this is a valuable opportunity for cultural exchange." Zextor's 3 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of distress among his species. "Captain Wright, I must again state my objection. The Council classifies both humans and Frostons as Deathworlders for good reason. Your unpredictable natures make interactions dangerous." Science Officer Diane Bell cleared her throat. She had been analyzing the data collected during their visit. "If I may, I'd like to present my findings." She tapped a control panel, and a holographic display appeared above the table. It showed temperature readings, atmospheric composition, and gravity measurements from Frosta. "Our scans confirm that the planet's average temperature is far below what humans can survive without protection," Diane said. "But it's perfect for the Frostons. Their body chemistry is adapted to use the cold as an energy source." "What do you mean?" asked Jack. Diane adjusted the display to show a thermal scan of a Froston. "Their bodies actually generate excess heat. The cold environment helps them maintain balance. What we see is harsh conditions they need for comfort. In a way, they're the opposite of us." Sam nodded with excitement. "That explains why they thought Earth would be unbearably hot. What's comfortable for us would overheat them." "Exactly," Diane said. "And there's more. The gravity on Frosta is 1.3 times Earth normal. The Frostons evolved stronger bones and muscles to compensate, but they're not naturally aggressive or dangerous, as the Council classification suggests." Zextor shifted uncomfortably. "The Council's classification system is based on many factors, not just physical capabilities." "Like the potential for violence?" Lisa asked directly. "Because all we saw were artists and families preparing for a cultural celebration." Ellie considered this information. "So we have 2 species labeled as dangerous by the Council, but for opposite reasons. We evolved on a warm planet with mild winters. They evolved on a cold planet with mild summers. What the Council sees as a threat might just be adaptation." "There's a scientific opportunity here," Sam added. "If we participate in their festival, we could learn more about how different species adapt to extreme environments. It could change how the Council views Deathworlders." Ellie looked around the table. "I've made my decision. We'll accept the Frostons' invitation, but we need to create something that represents Earth's snow traditions." She turned to Officer Bell. "Diane, can the ship's replicators produce basic snow tools for us?" "Easily," Diane replied. "Shovels, buckets, carving tools. What exactly are we planning to build?" Jack smiled. "Snowmen. The most human snow creation there is. Snowmen against snow warriors." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "We'll look ridiculous." "Maybe," Ellie said. "Or maybe we'll show that not every death world produces species obsessed with battle. Sometimes play is just play." With the decision made, the team began planning. They requested a variety of simple tools from the ship's replicators. Diane programmed designs for shovels, carving implements, and molds for creating perfectly round snowballs. From his corner of the room, Zextor watched with growing concern. He quietly activated his personal communication device when no one was looking. "Central Council," he whispered. "This is Representative Zextor aboard the Earth vessel U.S. Frontier. I need to report a concerning development. 2 Death World species are forming an alliance. The humans are helping the Frostons with their military training exercises. He paused, listening to the response from his superiors. No, they're disguising it as a cultural celebration, building what they call snow armies. I recommend immediate council intervention before this cooperation progresses further. As Zextor ended his secret communication, Ellie was distributing assignments to her team. Tomorrow we'll return to the surface with our tools, she said. We have 3 days until the festival judging. Let's show the Frostons and any watching council members what humans can do with snow. The next morning, the human team returned to the surface of Frosta. This time, they brought supplies. Simple shovels, buckets, and carving tools made by the ship's replicators. Krell met them at the landing site, his 4 arms raised in greeting. We have prepared your area in the festival grounds, he said. Many are eager to see what Earth snow creatures look like. He led them to a large field where hundreds of Frostons were already hard at work. Some used tools to carve massive blocks of snow. Others worked in teams to build complicated structures. The human team stared in amazement at what they saw taking shape. A group of 20 Frostons carefully crafted what looked like a battle scene. Their snow warriors stood 12 feet tall, with detailed armor and weapons. Another team built what appeared to be large snow beasts with many legs and sharp teeth. These are amazing, Sam said, stopping to examine a particularly detailed snow figure. The level of skill is incredible. Our people have been doing this for thousands of years, Krell explained with pride. Some families pass down special techniques through generations. They reached an empty section of the field marked with blue flags. This is your area, Krell said. We have packed fresh snow here for your use. Ellie looked at the space. It was much smaller than what the Froston teams were using, but perfect for what they had planned. Thank you, she said. We'll show you how humans traditionally play with snow. The team got to work. Jack showed the others how to roll small snowballs into larger ones. Lisa used a shovel to pile snow for a base. Sam and Ellie worked together to lift the middle sections onto the bases. A crowd of Froston children gathered to watch. They had never seen snow handled this way before. In their tradition, snow was carved from a single block, not built up from smaller pieces. What are you making? Asked Leary, Krell's daughter, who had joined the curious onlookers. These are called snowmen, Ellie explained. On Earth, children build them for fun during winter. They don't look like warriors, another child observed. They're not supposed to be warriors, Jack said. They're just friendly snow people. As the base and middle sections took shape, Sam used small pieces of coal from their supplies to add eyes and buttons. Ellie wrapped a red scarf around one snowman's neck and placed a carrot for its nose. Why does it need a nose made of food? Leary asked. Sam laughed. It's tradition. No one really knows why we started using carrots for noses. We just do. By midday, the human team had created a small village of snowmen. They stood in a friendly circle, much smaller than the towering war scenes created by the Frostons, but charming in their simplicity. Krell studied their creation with interest. They look happy, he said, sounding surprised. Our snow figures are usually serious, showing strength and power. That's the main difference between our snow traditions, Ellie explained. For us, snow is temporary fun, not a serious art form. Earth children make snowmen, have snowball fights, and make snow angels just for joy. Snowball fights, snow angels. Leary tugged at Jack's environmental suit. Show us. Jack smiled and bent down to scoop up some snow. He packed it into a round ball and gently tossed it at a nearby snowman. It hit with a soft puff. That's a snowball, he said. Children throw them at each other in friendly play. The Froston children were fascinated. Soon, they were making their own snowballs, laughing as they tossed them at each other. And snow angels are even simpler, Lisa said. She lay down on her back in the snow and moved her arms and legs back and forth. When she stood up, the impression left behind looked like a figure with wings. The children immediately copied her, creating dozens of snow angels around the human snowmen. Their laughter filled the air. Watching from a distance, Dr. Sam Turner made an important observation. "Captain," he said quietly to Ellie, "have you noticed how much warmer it is when the Frostons are active? I think they actually heat the air around them when they're excited or working hard." Ellie nodded. "The readings in my suit show the temperature has risen 5 degrees since we arrived. It's still well below freezing for us, but it explains why they enjoy this activity so much," Sam finished. "The snow festival isn't just art or tradition. It's how they regulate community temperature. More people working together creates more heat." Across the field, unnoticed by the humans, a small ship landed. 3 council representatives emerged, led by an agitated Zextor. Zextor led the council representatives across the snow-covered field. They moved with stiff caution, their environmental suits much bulkier than the humans. Their species came from a warm, humid world, and they viewed the cold of Frosta as especially deadly. "There," Zextor pointed. "The humans are training the Frostons in new battle formations." Senior Representative Maslun squinted through his faceplate at the scene before them. He saw the humans and a group of Froston children throwing white balls at each other. "These are the dangerous military exercises you reported?" Maslun asked, doubt clear in his voice. "They call them snowballs," Zextor insisted. "Clearly a training exercise for throwing weapons." The third council member, Tiv Wren, studied the larger field. "And those?" she asked, pointing to the massive snow warriors created by the Froston adults. "Their army," Zextor said. "For generations, they have created these snow soldiers. Now they invite another Deathworld species to join them. 2 violent cultures exchanging military knowledge." Maslun stepped forward to get a better look. At that moment, a stray snowball thrown by one of the children hit his suit with a soft thud. The Froston child who threw it froze in alarm. "We are under attack," Zextor cried out. Captain Ellie Wright noticed the commotion and hurried over. "Representatives, welcome to Frosta. I see you've experienced a snowball firsthand." "You call this harmless?" Zextor demanded. The child attacked a council representative. The Froston child trembled, her blue skin darkening with what might have been embarrassment or fear. "It was an accident," Ellie explained. "Snowball fights are a game on Earth. Children play this way during winter. There's no harm intended." Maslun brushed the snow from his suit. "A game? You throw frozen projectiles at each other for entertainment?" "Yes," Jack said, joining them. "It's fun." The council representatives exchanged confused glances. Their species didn't have a concept for playing in dangerous conditions. On their world, danger was always avoided, never embraced. "And these formations?" Tiv Wren asked, gesturing to the snow figures across the field. "Art," Ellie said firmly. "The Frostons create snow sculptures as part of a cultural tradition. We're learning from each other about how our different worlds relate to snow." Ambassador Krell approached, sensing tension. "Honored council representatives, welcome to our festival of formation. Have the humans explained our tradition?" Maslun turned to Krell. "Your people create armies from snow, yes? Military training disguised as tradition." Krell's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. "Military training? No. This is art and celebration, a way to remember our history while creating beauty from the snow." "But they are warriors," Zextor insisted. "Weapons, battle formations." "Based on ancient legends," Krell interrupted. "Our people haven't fought a real war in 1,000 years. These snow armies harm no one." Maslun looked unconvinced. 2 Deathworld species suddenly cooperating is concerning to the council. "Your worlds are classified as dangerous for good reason." Dr. Sam Turner stepped forward. "With respect, Representative, I believe your classification system misunderstands adaptation for aggression." He gestured to his datapad. "My readings show the Frostons actually need cold temperatures to regulate their body heat. What seems harsh to us is comfortable for them." Similarly, what's comfortable for humans would overheat Frostans. Different biological needs don't change the fact that both your species developed on worlds that encouraged aggressive survival traits, Tivren said. Or perhaps, Ellie suggested, our worlds encouraged creative adaptation. The Frostans turned snow into art. Humans turned it into play. Neither response is inherently violent. The conversation was interrupted by excited shouts from nearby. A group of Frostan children had built their first proper Earth-style snowman. They called for the humans to come see. Please, Ellie said to the council representatives, join us. See for yourself what this festival is really about. Reluctantly, the 3 council members followed. The child who had accidentally hit Mazlun with a snowball now held out a small, crudely made snowman as a peace offering. I made this for you, she said in a small voice. It is an earth snow person. They are friendly, not warriors. Mazlun stared at the simple snow figure, unsure how to respond to this unexpected gesture from a Deathworlder child. Mazlun slowly accepted the small snowman from the Frostan child. He studied it with his 3 eyes, turning it carefully in his gloved hands. This is not a weapon, he said finally. It wasn't a question, but a realization. No, the child said. It's for happiness. The humans showed us how to make them. An uncomfortable silence followed as the senior council representative looked from the snowman to the human team to the massive snow sculptures around the field. Something didn't match the reports he had received about dangerous Deathworlders preparing for violence. Perhaps, Tivren suggested, we should discuss this situation more formally. Captain Wright, Ambassador Krell, would you join us aboard our vessel? Ellie nodded. Of course. We welcome the opportunity to clear up any misunderstandings. Within an hour, they were seated around a conference table on the council ship. The room was kept at a compromised temperature, too warm for Krell's comfort and too cold for the council representatives, but tolerable for all. Ellie had removed her helmet but kept her thermal suit on. Let me be direct, Mazlun began. The council has long classified both Earth and Frosta as death worlds. Your species are considered unpredictable and potentially dangerous to the galactic community. Based on what evidence? Ellie asked. Tivren activated a display screen. Earth, extreme temperature variations, dangerous wildlife, natural disasters, and a history of warfare. Frosta, extreme cold, high gravity, and cultural practices centered around creating armies. Both planets produce beings with unusual physical capabilities and survival instincts. Dr. Sam Turner, who had been invited to provide scientific context, leaned forward. With respect, those same conditions produced our creativity and adaptability. Humans don't seek out danger. We find ways to live with it, often by turning it into something positive. Exactly, Krell agreed. Our snow armies began as a survival strategy, but evolved into art and community bonding. They strengthen our social ties and help regulate our collective body temperature. Sam nodded excitedly. That's what my readings confirmed. When Frostans gather to build snow sculptures, their combined body heat makes the environment more comfortable for everyone. It's not military training. It's environmental adaptation with social benefits. Mazlun looked skeptical. Even if true, this doesn't change the fact that both your species evolved with stronger survival drives than most council races. Maybe that's not a bad thing, Ellie suggested. Different evolutionary paths lead to different strengths. The council values stability and safety. Admirable goals. But Deathworlders, as you call us, value flexibility and innovation because our environments required it. Zextor, who had been quiet, spoke up. The snow armies are still concerning. Why maintain the warrior imagery if not to glorify combat? Ambassador Krell's 4 eyes focused on Zextor. We honor our past while celebrating that we no longer need real warriors. The snow soldiers remind us of challenges overcome. Is this not how many cultures preserve their history? And the snowball fights? Tivren asked, turning to Ellie. Play is how humans learn, Ellie explained. Children throw snowballs to develop coordination and social bonds, not to practice warfare. The fact that both our species turned environmental challenges into fun rather than fear says something important about us, don't you think? The council representatives exchanged looks. This perspective challenged centuries of established council policy regarding death worlds and their inhabitants. "We will need to consult with the full council," Maslun said finally. "This situation may require a reconsideration of certain classifications." "While you consult," Krell said, "the festival continues. Would you join us tomorrow for the final day? See for yourselves what these snow creations truly represent." Tivren nodded slowly. "We will observe. If what you say is true, that these are expressions of community and creativity, rather than preparation for violence, it would indeed challenge our understanding of Deathworld species." As they prepared to return to the surface, Dr. Sam approached Ellie. "Captain," he said quietly, "I've been analyzing the data from both our worlds. There's something remarkable happening here, something the Council has missed entirely about Deathworlders." "What's that?" Ellie asked. "The harder the environment, the more cooperative the species," Sam said. "Both humans and Frostans turned deadly conditions into community activities. We didn't become more violent. We became more creative and social." Ellie smiled. "Tomorrow, we'll show them exactly that." The final day of the Festival of Formation arrived with clear skies and bright sunlight that made the snow sculptures sparkle. Across the vast field, thousands of Frostans gathered to view the completed works and celebrate together. Captain Ellie Wright and her team stood proudly beside their creation. What had begun as a simple circle of snowmen had grown into an entire snow village. With help from excited Frostan children, they had built dozens of snowmen of all sizes. Some wore scarves and hats provided by the Frostans. Others had been decorated with local materials to look like a mix of humans and Frostans, standing together in friendship. "It's not as impressive as their massive snow warriors," Lisa said, "but it has heart." "That's what matters," Ellie replied. The council representatives arrived, still in their environmental suits, but moving with more confidence than before. They had spent the evening reviewing Dr. Sam's data and discussing what they had seen. "We are ready to observe the conclusion of your festival," Maslun announced. Krill approached with several other Frostan leaders. "Excellent timing. The community sharing is about to begin." "Community sharing?" Tivren asked. "Each group explains their creation and what it means," Krell explained. "Then everyone visits each other's works. It is the most important part of the festival." A bell-like sound rang out across the field, and the Frostans gathered in their groups. One by one, each team explained their snow sculptures. Some had created scenes from Frostan history. Others had made fantastic creatures from old stories. Each work had meaning beyond just its appearance. When it was the humans' turn, Ellie stepped forward. "On Earth, we build snowmen not as warriors or symbols, but as companions during winter," she explained. "Children make them to bring life and friendship to the cold months. Our creation shows what happens when two different worlds share their joy of snow." The Frostans applauded, especially the children who had helped build the snow village. Then it was time for the community sharing. Everyone moved from one creation to another, admiring the work and learning the stories behind each one. The council representatives followed, watching as humans and Frostans mixed freely, sharing stories and laughter. There was no sign of the danger or violence they had expected from Deathworlders. "I believe we have misunderstood something fundamental," Maslun said quietly to his colleagues. Near the end of the day, Elder Nira called everyone to gather in the center of the field. "This festival has been unlike any before," she announced, her voice carrying across the crowd. "For the first time, visitors from beyond our world have joined us. They have shown us new ways to enjoy the snow and reminded us that creativity takes many forms." She gestured to the human team. "To honor our new friends, we wish to create something together." At her signal, hundreds of Frostans moved into position. With practiced coordination, they began to work the snow, forming a massive circular design. The humans watched in amazement as a detailed map of two worlds took shape, Earth and Frosta, connected by a bridge of snow figures. Our worlds, though different, share something important, Elder Nira continued. We both faced challenges that might have made us fearful or aggressive. Instead, we found joy and community. This is the true strength of what the Council calls Deathworlders. Maslun stepped forward unexpectedly. On behalf of the Galactic Council, I must acknowledge that we have misjudged both your peoples. His three eyes moved from the Frostans to the humans. What we classified as dangerous survival traits appear instead to be remarkable adaptations that foster cooperation rather than conflict. Does this mean you'll change our classification? Ellie asked. I will recommend a new designation, Maslun replied. Adaptive worlds, planets whose harsh conditions inspired creativity and community rather than merely survival instincts. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the snowfield, humans and Frostans stood together before the council representatives. Perhaps, Krell suggested, this is just the beginning. Captain Wright has invited some of our people to visit Earth during your winter season to experience your snow traditions firsthand. And we would be honored to host council representatives as well, Ellie added, to observe that Deathworlders, as you call us, have much to offer the galaxy. Zextor looked uncomfortable, but Tivren nodded. I, for one, would be interested to see these snowball fights in their natural environment. As the light faded, the snow creatures, both the massive warriors and the friendly snowmen, stood as silent witnesses to the beginning of a new understanding between worlds.